Hey, Hockey World. It is Monday, May 19th, 2014.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Josh Rimmer.
And I am Eklund, and you're watching the HockeybuzzCast on HockeyBuzz.com, coming to you live today from Philadelphia, Buffalo, and Toronto. This is episode number 26 or 7 at this point, so we're doing pretty well. My goodness, we woke up on a Monday morning to nothing. It's just a normal and everyday Monday. And not the case. Not the case today. Let's start by talking a little bit about the Montreal situation, because that's the most breaking news based on what's happening at this point. Carey Price is out. Canadiens fans are fine with this. Leaf fans aren't lining up to, like, you see this happen again to me here.
Turn off the lights.
What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think Montreal fans are probably in a minor state of panic, maybe major state of panic, because, Carey Price has been integral for their advancement through the playoffs so far. I mean, he played pretty well against Tampa in the first round. I thought he was one of the difference makers against the Bruins. I thought he outplayed Tuukka Rask. And, game one, he played okay early in the game, but the game started to get away from them. But then the collision with Chris Kreider, he didn't come out for the third period, and the Rangers opened up a can of whoop ass on the Habs at the Bell Center. The suspicion was that he was hurt, but there was no indication of how serious he was hurt. Budaj coming in the third was an indication that maybe something was wrong, but Therrien sort of sold it after the game as they wanted to change the pace. But now comes out this morning that he's done for the series. And I'm sorry, I think they're a good team. I think they have to be a good team if they beat Boston in a Game 7 in Boston. But losing Carey Price for the series, to me, is a death blow for the Habs.
Josh, you agree with this?
Turn off the lights. The party's over, as they say. As the saying goes, I should say. Montreal is done now. I'm going to have to say that the New York Rangers are going to win this series. I don't think Budaj is going to be able to come in and stand on his head and win this series for the Montreal Canadiens. It's going to be, I hate using this word, interesting to see if there's any retaliation to the New York Rangers after what happened with Carey Price and the whole Chris Kreider thing today. Basically, Michel Therrien throwing Kreider under the bus, saying that he didn't, get out of the way. He didn't try to get out of the way. He purposely hurt our goalie, our number one goalie. And then on the other side, you have Alain Vigneault not willing to address the situation, thinking it's basically, ridiculous that Therrien, yeah, exactly, an accident that Therrien is out of his mind for suggesting that Kreider would do something like that. But yeah, I think the Rangers are going to win this series, especially since Rick Nash finally scored, guys. I can see the New York Rangers finally, not finally, but taking the series finally because of Rick Nash is on the board.
This is how bad it is. I didn't even see the goal because it didn't even. That's how I decided to go outside and play.
It was the 7th goal, Ek.
I decided to go outside and play with my child on the beautiful afternoon day, and that's how important Rick Nash's goal was. That I missed it in the conference final game. All right, guys, I'm going to totally disagree with both of you, 100%.
Not surprised.
Shocking. But I think you're being Leaf centric on this, because this is the thing.
No.
I've never accused you of being
not at all.
All right. But here's the thing about this, okay? Carey Price wasn't a factor in this series. In my mind, wasn't going to be a factor in this series. The Rangers' offense isn't a factor in this series. It's not about the Bruins. It's not about the Penguins would have been, or a tough team that comes at you with a lot of offensive firepower. The Rangers just don't. The Rangers get their goals. I mean, they scored 7 goals. Granted, that's more goals than they scored in the last 25 years combined in Montreal, but they got 7 goals in that game, right? But they're not an offensive juggernaut. And the Canadiens played a horrible game. Okay, no question about it. There was a letdown from the Bruins series. There's no doubt about that. And it was hard because they're coming from playing the best team in the league to the Rangers, and that was a tough battle for them to overcome. However, Price wasn't going to be a factor in this at all. This whole series has always been about can they beat Lundqvist. It's about the other end of the ice, not this end of the ice. For the Rangers, it's almost a curse in a way, and now people are gonna say I'm crazy, but the Rangers have everything going their way right now, and the momentum and the emotional aspects, the X factors in these series that we always talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The Montreal just got a big one, and they got one in the form of this is not about Carey Price now. This is not about anything, but now we are. I mean, these coaches are ridiculously going out of their way to make themselves underdogs in every press conference. It's like, oh well, we're the underdog. It's like, and I get it. That's what you do. You make yourself the underdog, so your team is motivated and doesn't think, But my gosh, Montreal finally is one. Montreal finally is an underdog. Okay, so now they officially have that. They have an underdog. They will win tonight. There's no question. If you want to bet money tonight, bet the house tonight. Montreal will win. Will they be on several levels? One is because whenever I did a story on this a while ago. Whenever a team loses by more than 4 goals in a playoff game, they win the next game 78% of the time. It's just an unbelievable stat, but it's true. I went back to like the beginning of the 80s on this one, and it's simply because of the level you have to play in hockey. It's going to be hard for the Rangers to keep themselves at that level tonight. You can't help but mentally let down. Montreal can't help but mentally be angry about how they played. And now, on top of it, Carey Price is gone. So you've given Montreal now 2 reasons. I don't see these teams as being that much different, even with Budaj in goal. And maybe we won't see Budaj the whole series, by the way. It's possible they bring this other kid up, right?
Yeah. 78%.
What was that?
Oh, I was just going to say 78%, so you're saying there is a chance. That you could be wrong.
1 chance in 5.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
Okay.
But listen, I'll let you go in a second, Mike. I'm sorry. I'm just going to
Okay.
rant real quick because this has been bothering me all morning. People are just so excited about putting the Habs down. Okay, now I picked the Rangers in the series. Okay, I did. I picked the Rangers in 7 games. But I picked that because I don't have any faith in Michel Therrien as a coach. I thought he was going to get outcoached by Alain Vigneault. I did. And I think in the first game he was. Mm-hmm. But now the Canadiens have their rallying cry. And I think that, if tonight they come out and they get blown out of the water again, okay. But tonight they're going to win. Tonight they're going to win, and that's going to change things around. So, Mike?
There's historical precedent. Remember the Oilers when they went to the finals in 2004. Rolson got hurt. Ty Conklin goes in, and then I think it was UC Markkanen was in the finals, or vice versa. But they were down to their third goalie, so it's possible for a team to rally behind a backup goaltender. But that being said, I thought this series was a battle between the 2 goaltenders, between Price and Lundqvist. Lundqvist has a lot to prove. He has a lot to prove to live up to the King Henrik moniker that he's had all these years. He's won a gold medal in the Olympics, but he has not won a Stanley Cup. Right. And I think he needs to prove that. And I think so far he has with his play against the Penguins in the second round. But now, in an area that was basically a wash, Lundqvist versus Price, now I think the Rangers have a distinct advantage, and the fact that the Rangers struggle to score, as you said, will be a lot easier playing against Budaj, who's a career backup goaltender, or maybe they do go to Dustin Tokarski, who has won. I saw him win a Calder Cup with Norfolk 2 years ago. Got traded from Tampa to Montreal. Played a couple games with the Canadiens this year. He's not exactly a spring chicken. He's not. I think he's 24, 25 years old. So he's not. So maybe that's the disaster backup if Budaj plays tonight and doesn't play well. But I'm telling you right now, this is a distinct advantage for the Rangers. Whether the Habs use it as a rallying cry or not, now they have an advantage. Now it's a question of whether the Rangers let down and decide, okay, well, we're going to win this because Carey Price isn't playing. If that happens, then the Habs could come back. But if Alain Vigneault keeps the pedal on the metal and keeps this team going the way they're going and the way they've been motivated over the last few weeks, I think the Rangers have this series.
And I agree with you, Mike. I honestly believe the Rangers are going to steamroll the Canadians now. And Eklund, I'm actually shocked that you're backing the Canadians for the way they've been using Danny Briere in the playoffs. I mean, I've questioned that a couple times.
I mean, honestly, I'm not a Terrian fan.
Yeah.
And this is just another example for me where Terrian is going to get the breaks on this because you don't have to coach now. They have this team is a tight team against Boston. They didn't have to coach because all this stuff happened with PK and all that stuff. So go ahead, Josh.
Well, I just think the floodgates are going to open here, Eck. I know you were saying that the Rangers aren't a very offensive team. I think they're going to score over 5 goals in this game. I honestly believe that Peter Budaj is going to struggle in the net. And also remember, guys, I mean, it's not like Budaj has gotten a lot of action this year. And even if they put in the other kid, who I'm going to butcher his name, like Don Cherry butchers guys' names, and I don't want to do that, Tokarski. Did I say that right, Tokarski?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. I said it right. Wow. Look at that. Oh, no, okay.
It's like Koharski with a K.
I mean,
Have another donut.
Yeah, I don't think that these guys are going to have enough experience. Like I said, Rick Nash scored a goal finally. Maybe he'll start scoring goals tonight. Marty St. Louis, Brad Richards, go down the line. I honestly believe this Rangers team is going to steamroll the Canadians. But I honestly have the gut feeling that the Stanley Cup is going to remain in the Western Conference this year because whoever wins that series between the Blackhawks and the Kings is going to win the Cup.
Well, it is hard, but before we get to that, let's find out exactly what's going to happen tonight because we have set up ready to go. The simulation. Peter Budaj is in goal, by the way. He is in goal for this game. I put him in goal, and we have the simulation going, and we will check back with this game often to find out what exactly happens.
I'm calling 5-1 final.
5-1. All right, I got the Canadians in this game. We're predicting a simulation game here. Understand this. Well, in the simulation, I've got the Canadians winning this game 4-2. All right,
as long as you don't rig it.
I can't rig it. And the Rangers just scored. So there you go. Peter Budaj has just given up a goal.
Look at that.
Right off the bat.
Sieve.
Look at
to Brad Richards. Yeah, so
what was that, 10 seconds in, Eck?
That was yeah. No, that's
Now starting in goal for Montreal, Red Light Rasico.
It's a bad rebound by Budaj, but that's okay. All right, we'll check back in with that game and as it proves my point somehow down the line. Perhaps. But listen, even if they lose tonight, I still have we learned nothing from the playoffs this year that these are all 7-game series, and at the end of the day, the first 2 games or 3 games are just to tell us what the storyline is going to be. Like this team came back from 3-1, this team came back from 2-0. I mean,
not when you lose your number one guy, though, Eck. When you lose your tender, the guy who's got you to where you are this year, the guy who stood on his head in the Olympics. I mean, that's a huge blow. I'm sorry, but I don't think they're going to be able to recover from this.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, in my opinion, I don't know. We'll see. I really do like the fact that this plays into the Montreal aura as much as you guys don't want to know this or think this. This is a Montreal Canadiens type story.
I'll bet you a cookie, Eck.
A cookie, you got it. And the Canadians have just given up another goal as we speak.
Still owes me 2 cookies.
All right, so
2 goals already?
2 goals. Yep. That would be
Devin
another Brad Richards goal. I believe it is.
Imitating life.
Yep, Brad Richards. Yeah. All right, so it is 2-0 early on in that game.
What did I say? 5-1 final? Mine should change it to 10-1.
I had 4-2 Canadians, so I don't think Rangers have anything else coming in the rest of the season.
Heck, if it ends up 5-1, we're never going to hear the end of it from Josh.
Oh my gosh, yeah. All right, well, we will check back in on that one. Or someone might just hit the plug out by accident. You never know. All right, well, let's move on. Let's move on to the other series for a little bit before we get into some rumors, because we have a good day of rumors going up here. A lot of rumor stuff today. Chicago Chicago, LA. I have to admit, I didn't get to see this game. My daughter had a soccer game that I had to go to. I was coaching it, and I didn't really get to watch this game. And by the time I had all plans to DVR it and everything like that, but that's impossible in this day and age with Twitter. So I just said forget about it. So I did DVR it. Josh, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I think the Blackhawks are gonna. They look pretty good the first game. I mean, we know the LA Kings will sometimes not show up in games, and then they'll wake up a little bit later. But yeah, the Blackhawks won a big one there, and you could tell there was some questionable, again, shocking, questionable calls in the game, and I thought for sure Quenneville was going to grab his junk in between that game from the way, just some of those calls were bad.
Just to note, the Rangers
Can I say jump?
3-0 on Marty King goal. Yeah.
That cookie's looking good.
The cookie is looking good. Anyway, so yeah. All right. So, but no, there was a great game. I mean, the Hawks are obviously a good team. This, in my opinion, could have been a little bit of a letdown on the LA Kings part. That, from what I could see. Mike, your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, the Kings had dominated Anaheim in Game 7. I don't think it was much of a, after the first period, wasn't much of a doubt that they were going to win that game. Coming in after playing 2 consecutive 7-game series, I'm sure that fatigue had a part in how they played, especially late in the game. They didn't seem to have a lot of jump. But I thought Chicago, not thoroughly dominated, but had the advantage for most of the game. I mean, they scored the opening goal. They should have had a 2-0 lead and a bad call. Which I'm getting sick of these goaltender interference calls where I don't think the goaltender is really being interfered with, or the fact that the defenseman is pushing the forward into the goaltender, and that's considered goaltender interference. It's already been key calls in other series, and I think it's ridiculous. But and then LA tied the game, and then Chicago quickly took the lead back. They were never really in danger of losing control of this game. I thought Jonathan Quick played okay, but did not play at the level that he has played when LA has won games. So for them to win, and this is the thing, LA, their record so far throughout these playoffs is they take games off at a time. If you look at, they were down 3-0 against San Jose, came back, won 4 in a row. They won the first 2 against Anaheim, took 3 games off, and then came back, won 2. Against Chicago, if they do that, they're done, because that team will step on their neck and kill them. So
they're as done as apparently the Canadians will be if they were to play Peter Budaj in goal tonight, because again, St. Louis has come up and made it 4-0 now. And
it's looking good.
I got another. I have now people who are telling me that I just got a couple texts saying me I have to put the other goalie in to see what will happen. So we're going to do that in a little bit. We're gonna replay this game with the other goalie. Tokarski will play. I have to bring him up from Norfolk, but anyway, just
how much time's left in this game, Max?
There's a lot of time left in this game, Josh.
Well, Chuck,
right,
if that doesn't help, we can call up Jacques Plante.
The question that I have is this, because I only set this up so Budaj would start. Price is the backup, and I'm curious if they're going to pull him. They're going to pull Budaj at some point, or whether I don't know how the computer will work that thing, and put Price in there or not. But
yeah, Price with a crutch.
Oh my God! All right, well, yeah, we'll come back to this for sure. This is I think the Canadians are going to be happy to get out of this period. That's all I can say. Okay, so
Terry might be grabbing his junk tonight, but anyway.
The one thing that's realistic about this game is Gianta's a -4. So
nice.
Anyway, I'm going to leave it with that with Gianta. I just don't get the ice time that Brian. I know he's your captain, but the ice time Gianta can't play anymore. That's just my opinion. I mean, when I watch him play out there, he looks horrible. This guy was. I mean, I was a Gianta fan for years. Mm-hmm. He was obviously an enormously great player, but man, oh man, every time he's out on the ice right now, he's slow. He makes bad decisions.
You know what that means, Zach? That means he'll be a free agent signing of the Buffalo Sabres next year.
All right, well, let's transition to that. Speaking of that, while I get quickly to the second period of this other game,
Remember Gianta and Scott Gomez in those big years they used to have.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But anyway.
That tells you how long ago it was, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so because where's Scott Gomez now? Anywho, let's talk about rumors because Buffalo. Who is Buffalo going to get, Mike? I tell you who Buffalo's going to get. My source says Matt Molson. Matt Molson, I was told before he was traded, even though of course you knew he was going to get traded. Went to the team and said, listen, I know you got to move me because it's the trade deadline, and I want to go play someplace in the playoffs, so it'll be fine. But I really liked it here. I really want to come back, and I really want to play here. So, yeah, I think Molson returns. Mike, thoughts on that one?
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility because he's from Toronto, and he liked the proximity of being Buffalo is an hour and a half drive from family and friends. Clearly, he's not going to go back to the Islanders. They included him in that deal for Vanek because I don't think they were going to sign him as a free agent based on what kind of money he would want. He fit well with guys like Cody Hodgson on the Sabres. He's probably going to be a first liner on the Sabres. So I mean, and he's not the only one who could come back to the Sabres. I've heard rumors about Steve Ott. He's a UFA with the Blues. About him re-signing with Buffalo and actually being made the team captain again. So I think that's a possibility as well. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that Molson does come back. Yes.
Oh, hold on, guys. Also not out of the realm of possibility that somebody comes back. The Montreal Canadiens, who just put one in over here as Josh Georges.
What's the score?
4-1. But the second period now, Georges has scored on a shot that I just can't believe Lundqvist missed. I guess that deflected off the goal stick there.
Grasping at straws.
4-1.
4-1.
Getting
Who
hungry,
said 5-1?
Getting hungry for that cookie. Josh, your thoughts on Matt Molson in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think he will possibly go back to Buffalo, but wouldn't it be interesting to see him go back to Long Island? I mean, him and John Tavares are really tight.
Yeah.
And, I mean, John obviously was not on the team in the end with hurting himself at the Olympics. Yeah. But I would not be surprised to see Matt Molson even go back to Long Island or the future Brooklyn.
What I heard, he wasn't too happy about the way that went down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that was an issue with him, and you know how players get once they feel like they've really been distant. But Buffalo was a very different situation where he knew that they were open with him. They said we're going to trade you, and that's that, But Buffalo, Matt Molson, Ryan Callahan, that's my thoughts.
Yeah,
Mike, you're shaking your head.
No, I really don't think that Callahan is a starter for the Sabres. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and I just in terms of reading the landscape of the Sabres, I don't think that they're going to want to spend the kind of money that it would take to get Callahan, and that's based on what he was trying to get from the Rangers as a free agent. I don't think they want to bring in somebody for 5 or 6 years at $6 million. And Callahan is a guy like a David Clarkson who has been through wars, who is a character leader type player, but he is almost 30 years old, and at that point is going to start to break down physically. I don't think that they want that. I think he's a fit on Long Island. I think it makes a lot of sense for the Islanders because, one, you get to stick it to the Rangers and bring in their former captain. He's going to be motivated. He wants to get his money, but I think he also liked it in New York. So I think that and them moving to Brooklyn next year, I think that makes a lot of sense. So, but it's not out of the question. I think in a situation like the Islanders works better for him.
It depends on something like the confidence that you have in your team, like the Canadians don't have right now, and Peter Budaj, who's given up his 5th goal.
5-1.
That would be Rick Nash scoring another meaningful goal for the Rangers.
I'm on fire. I'm quitting while I'm ahead.
Make it 5-1 right now.
Hey, I could see Callahan going to Florida. I mean, the Panthers have a lot of money to spend here, and they could throw some big bucks at him. I could see him.
Definitely a talent type guy too.
Yeah, and you know what? That team lacked leadership last year, and I could see Callahan ending up in Florida. I mean, he got a little test of playing in Florida. It's very possible he enjoyed it. I mean, who doesn't like playing hockey in South Florida? Actually, Tampa's not South Florida, but Florida. So I could see Callahan ending up with the Panthers. And Talon said that they're going to be spending a lot of money. I mean, what do they have? Between 20 and 30 million to spend here?
Yeah, they've got a ton of money to spend. about as much as the Canadians will have after they get another goalie because
6-1.
Another goal has been scored here.
I was wrong.
6-1. Yeah, this is not a good sign for Canadians fans. So we're gonna. I might just switch out of this game at some point so we can put Tokarski in there.
Pull the plug like they did the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So the
mercy rule. Well, while you're switching it over,
yeah. Why don't you give me some thoughts on this, Mike? While I'm switching it, I'm going to go to you guys.
Okay.
Let you guys go for a second.
Florida is going to be an interesting team in terms of a lot of moves and with a lot of teams. I know that specifically, Dale Talon, former GM in Chicago, there's been some connection between him and another former Blackhawk, two-time Stanley Cup winner, Dave Bolland, who is a UFA. He may want to sign with the Leafs, but it's unknown whether the Leafs are willing to spend the kind of money that Bolland wants as a free agent. I've heard they want to pay him around the same amount that Tyler Bozak is getting, which is $4.2 million. If he wants more than that, then I think the Leafs will probably say, thanks but no thanks. And one of the possible destinations for Bolland is Florida. They need veteran experience. Talon knows him from Chicago. It adds up. Now, Florida, again, is going to be a key in the offseason because of what Josh just said about how much money they have to spend. On defense, right now they have two young guys in Eric Branson and Dmitry Kulikov. Kulikov has been somebody that they've been rumored to want to trade for a couple years. They just don't like the direction he is going in. They hit it big on Tom Gilbert as a late free agent signing last year. Got him for a bargain. I think it was $900,000, and he had a really good year. But now he wants big money. It's a question of whether they're going to re-sign him or he's going to go someplace else to get $4 or $5 million a year. And I would not be surprised if there's any validity to the Dion Phaneuf rumors that one of the potential destinations is Florida because they have so much cap room. Josh?
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening. And another former Blackhawk whose name we could hear is Dustin Byfuglien. I mean, we've heard that they want him out of Winnipeg. And Talon like Byfuglien in Chicago. I could see Byfuglien ending up in Florida as well. It's really, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the summer because the Panthers are going to make some big moves. And you know what? This team could very well be a good team going forward. I mean, look at the youth that they have on this team. As you said, on the back end, they have Kulikov and they have Goodbranson, but they also have Dylan Olsen back there who showed some poise last year. They still have Brian Campbell, don't they?
Yeah, I think he has another year left of his deal. Yeah.
Yeah, they have Campbell, and then up front, of course, they have Huberdeau, Barkov, Hugstad. And you surround this team with the right players and leadership. This could very well turn into a playoff team. And don't forget, you also have Tim Thomas between the pipes.
Yeah, no, you have Luongo. They got rid of
Luongo. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, from what veteran to another. But no, and I think the most interesting thing is Dale Talon coming out last month and saying that he's shopping the number one pick. Now, that might be just to drum up a little interest, but
that's a smart move. I mean, you could land a pretty good player with that pick, right?
Well, I mean, and everybody assumes that it's going to be Aaron Ekblad, who's the number one pick.
Traded for Dion Phaneuf for the first rounder.
Well, they're I mean, okay. I'm not going to throw that one out. But if you think about it, they're in a situation where they want help immediately. Now, they're not going to trade that pick just for the sake of trading it.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to trade it to get somebody who is an impact player who can help them right now. They have a limited window of maybe 3 years with Luongo as a top-flight goaltender. So that team wants to win now. So where do they need to improve? I mean, I think they need to get some scoring, and I think they can do that in free agency, add some complementary players to the guys like Barkov and but they need help on defense. And a guy like Phaneuf might be an answer. But, I don't think you're going to get the number one pick in the draft for Dion Phaneuf. Have to give them the 8th pick in the draft and Phaneuf just to move up to number one. And, I don't know, that would, if you look at it from the Toronto perspective, that would, that there's part of the culture change. You bring in an 18-year-old Aaron Ekblad to put together with Gardner and Riley and a few others, and maybe that gives the Leaf organization a positive message going forward, and getting rid of a guy who represents a negative message. But
maybe include Kadri in the deal then, Mike.
You could. All right, so sorry for the delay, guys. It took me a while to figure out where the hell Tokarski was in NHL 14. It looks like he's on Syracuse. It took me. I was going all over.
He's the Hamilton Bulldogs.
Yeah, but he wasn't changed in this game.
Okay.
Still on Syracuse, as far as I can tell.
8-2 Rangers.
See if he actually is here or not. So, yeah, I think this is. That's how hard it is right now.
Well, while Eck is taking care of that,
not on Syracuse either. I don't know if he's in this game, but continue, Mike. One more moment.
No, I was gonna say, while you were figuring that out, let's talk about what the other goaltending news that happened today, which was the signing of Brian Elliott to a 3-year contract extension by the St. Louis Blues. Josh.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that ends the Ryan Miller affair in St. Louis. Didn't last very long, and I guess by the way they're playing this is that they're blaming their early exit on Ryan Miller by saying, see you later, we're going to go back to our guy Brian Elliott. And Ryan Miller, it's going to be, again, I hate using this word, interesting to see where he ends up in the offseason. I think you got to look at Minnesota and you got to look at Anaheim as the two possible destinations. But maybe Anaheim doesn't even want him. I mean, John Gibson did look pretty good in the playoffs. Yeah, he didn't maybe the last game, but those goals were really not his fault. Mm-hmm. And you got a lot of great goaltending in Anaheim. So I don't know where Ryan Miller ends up. Probably Minnesota.
I don't think that the Blues are blaming Ryan Miller for the loss, because they did have a lot of injuries going into the playoffs, but I think they think the more cost-effective way to go is to go with Elliott and with rookie Jake Allen, who won AHL Goalie of the Year. Now, I saw Allen play 2 games this week, playing against the Marlies, playing for the Chicago Wolves against the Marlies. And in a small preview, he was rather underwhelming, and he actually struggled in a couple playoff games for them. That being said, you put him in front of a defense with guys like Shattenkirk and Bouwmeester and Alex Pietrangelo. I'm sure he'll play better, and he has played okay at the NHL level in brief look-sees. So they're going to go with Allen and Elliott. I think they'll be spending a lot less money on goaltending than most other teams will, and they'll probably use that cap room to go out and either bolster their defense or add some forward help. Probably a center, because I think they need an offensive center.
Now, Mike, you said before this podcast something rather controversial, and I can't find Tokarski anyway. If anyone out there knows where he is on NHL 14, let me know, because he's not on any of the teams like Norfolk, Syracuse, or Hamilton. Which are the 3 teams I would have thought he was on. He's not part of the Canadiens roster. So, but if you do know where he is, let me know. So for now, I was just going to start this game again, Josh, and just pretend that Tokarski's in there this time.
Start it with an empty net. It'll be like the same thing.
That is awesome. All right. So, but Mike, before the podcast began, you had some rather controversial. Let's just give Budaj a second here, because I want to let's see him skate around the net, because I think we'll get a chance to watch this here real quick. Here we go. I'm going to go over here. Here we go. So this is the as the players skate onto the ice, there he is, Peter Budaj, skating out, leading the team. And
they're playing the funeral dirge as they're coming out on the ice.
Right. Maybe if my son in his hilarity says to me, maybe Dad, if they didn't melt the ice before the game, the Canadiens would have been better. He watched that preview, of the game and thought, there he is, Peter Budaj, taking to the nets. All right, here we're underway. Underway for what's a rematch of a game that was just played with horrible results. But you never know. Mike, before this podcast, getting back to the focus, guys. Sorry, we're having some fun here today.
I got some breaking news too.
Oh, let's go to Josh on breaking news, and then we'll talk about how Mike said something that was ridiculous. So remind me about that. Josh, continue.
Well, we haven't discussed the whole Alex Ovechkin thing, but Germany's Marcus Kink, who's the one who gave Alex Ovechkin that hip check to his knee, has now been suspended for 1 game.
Really?
Marcus King suspended 1 game for clipping Alex Ovechkin with a hip check to the knee. Russian star will miss at least 1 game with injury.
Who suspended him? Vladimir Putin?
Yeah, I don't know.
The other day? Did you see Putin playing hockey? I mean, did you see that whole thing?
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Now, what was the stupid thing that I said, Ek?
Oh yeah, well the Rangers took a 1-0 lead. By the way, Dan Girardi just gave the Rangers a 1-0 lead in this game. All right, Mike, the stupid thing you said before this game is you said that Ryan Miller is screwed. Screwed, I tells you. I don't see Ryan Miller as being screwed. He's not going to be in a St. Louis Blue, but I don't think he wanted to be a St. Louis Blue. And yeah, Anaheim has Gibson, who is, looks like being an all-star, but there's other teams out there who will take on Ryan Miller for a lot of money. I mean, Ryan Miller will make a ton of money, so I want you to define what you mean by screwed.
Well, screwed, I mean, is that his want is to go to California. He's not going to go to the LA Kings. He probably is not going to go to the Anaheim Ducks because, you're going to have Gibson and Frederik Andersen as a 1-2 probably, with Hiller leaving. And it's a 50-50 proposition if San Jose wants to trade Andy Niemi and bring in Miller. And if they do that, Miller's probably going to have to take less money because they don't have a ton of cap room. I think he would rather go to one of those 3 teams. And maybe I'm overplaying the California angle. But and Phoenix is not an option because their goaltending situation is solidified with Mike Smith. Either he goes to Vancouver or Minnesota, but he's not going to an area where he wants to go. So that's what I'm saying. If his goal is to get to the West Coast, San Jose might be his only option. And if he goes to San Jose, he's not going to be able to get top money for as opposed to other places.
I will go to Josh in a second, but I will tell you where I think Ryan Miller will go, because I think this makes all the sense in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will go to Colorado, and he's got people there he knows, he's got friends there, he gets to go to a team. Ryan Miller wants to be with his wife, like we all do, we'd rather win a Stanley Cup. My wife doesn't watch the podcast, so I can say that safely. But Ryan Miller would rather win a Stanley Cup. He's spent, his career about as far away from the sunny shores of Manhattan Beach as you can imagine, in the outskirts of Buffalo there. So I can tell you that he wants to win a Stanley Cup first and foremost. So that really, to me, opens up San Jose, opens up Colorado, opens up Pittsburgh, and I mean that is another one. I mean, I would throw out there too, because if you're going to make a change in Pittsburgh, going to bring a new person in, what better goalie to bring in than Ryan Miller if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins right now? I mean, I know we can't blame Fleury, but Josh, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I don't know where he goes, guys. I was saying a minute ago that I think Minnesota might be best case for him right now. Where to go? Because Anaheim looks fine in goaltending. They have Gibson coming up, as you had mentioned.
What about San Jose? I mean, why not San Jose?
I think they're going to stick with Niemi. I think Niemi was a bright spot for them during the regular season. I don't see them getting rid of Niemi. I believe Niemi will stay there in San Jose. Maybe Colorado. I know you brought up Colorado. I think that's a good possibility. I mean, who knows what happens with Varlamov. If he's the right guy for Colorado, I'm sure Patrick Waugh would probably like to have Ryan Miller in the net. So, yeah, I could see Colorado or Minnesota. For some reason, my gut tells me that San Jose isn't going to get rid of him. They're going to get rid of someone offensively and do a couple of tweaks. They're not going to do a total change in San Jose.
I actually, guys, just got texted from a good friend of mine in Montreal that Tokarski could be the guy tonight.
Yeah, that's apparently the talk. I know Darren Jagger just sent a tweet out saying, I will join those speculating that Tokarski gets the starting nod. Not convinced, but signs are pointing in that direction right now.
Yeah, I'm going to ask some other people too while we're here because I know other folks in that area.
The 2014 version of Steve Penny, at least that Michael or Michelle Therrien is hoping. But
Yeah.
let me just finish out the Colorado point here.
Yep.
I mean, would Miller be an upgrade over Varlamov? I don't know. I mean, they just gave Varlamov a 5-year extension at almost $6 million. So you're not going to bring in Miller unless it's for a stopgap, say 1-year contract, which I would think that he's not going to want to go someplace and be a mercenary for a year. He's going to want to, he wants to get his last long-term deal. Ideally. Now, the only place I could see him going as a 1-year mercenary is Pittsburgh, because he could win a Stanley Cup with the Penguins, but then they would probably have to get rid of Fleury, because I don't think the two could coexist. But yeah, I mean, Miller's going to want a long-term deal, and I don't see where he goes unless San Jose moves Niemi someplace else. And then he goes into San Jose.
Wow. Yeah, I see. I don't think they're so sold on the Emmy, and by the fact they didn't change their coaching, they're going to make changes on their team, and I'm guessing that means more than moving Brent Burns back to defense, like they've already told us.
Right.
I think they're looking at the goalie spot. They have to. If you're looking at the goalie spot, it starts and ends with Ryan Miller. Jonas Hiller's out there too. He's going to be out there as well. I've heard Jonas Hiller's name mentioned, connected to the New Jersey Devils, and the Rangers have scored again over here, by the way. But yeah, I'll just talk over this as we watch the Rangers take it. Yeah, the game's actually much closer than the first game we watched, and I will have to now find Tokarski somehow and probably do a separate podcast for the Canadiens fans to play that game. But yeah, I don't know. Where I'm at right now, I think that Miller is going to be between San Jose, Colorado, and Pittsburgh. But Josh, you have some stuff on the latest in Pittsburgh, Vancouver, and Washington, by the way. What do you got going on?
Yes, well, it was this morning or early afternoon. Pat Brisson released a statement that he is not pursuing the general manager job with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think that comes as a shock to a few people, as a lot of people believe that Brisson was going to be the next GM of the Pittsburgh Penguins because of his relationship with Mario Lemieux, with Burkholder, and also Sidney Crosby, obviously, and Malkin, having those two guys as clients. But he has squashed the speculation that he's going to be the next GM, which leads me to believe that Pittsburgh has now turned their sights on Jim Benning. Right now, Benning is the front runner in Vancouver. A lot of people believe he will be the next GM of the Vancouver Canucks. As of today, as of right this second, there's been no contact made between the Penguins and Jim Benning, but from sources that I've spoke with, he's one of the guys that they wouldn't mind bringing in for an interview. Perhaps that has something to do with Benning not going to Vancouver as of yet. Maybe he was waiting to see the situation. I mean, guys, honestly, would you rather go to Pittsburgh or would you rather go to Vancouver right now?
Yeah.
You know? Right. And then the other thing, former general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Ray Shero, is expected to be the guy that the Washington Capitals have set their sights on now as a general manager. And a big reason why Dan Bylsma was not released as well is the Penguins didn't want Shero to bring him over to the Washington Capitals. That's what I was told. They did not want Shero to bring his guy to Washington, so the Caps would have to play Shero and Bylsma, for the next couple of years. And that's apparently the reason why they have not let Bylsma go, which, in all honesty, I think it's a kick in the face to Bylsma, because you have all these opening coaching positions right now, and you're not accepting it. But I will tell you this. It looks like it probably will be Barry Trotz going to Washington. Trotz and Shero do have a little bit of a connection. I believe Shero was with the Predators for a little while, was he not?
Oh, yeah. No, Shero was definitely with the Predators.
So
he was assistant GM behind Poyle.
So I could definitely see Trotz going to Washington, so it'd be Shero and Trotz probably in Washington. And then in Carolina, we're still waiting to find out what's going on there. The word is Kevin Dineen is still the guy that would be the head coach, but also Eddie Olczyk's name has been floating around a little bit as a possible head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes. So from what I've been told, after the finals, that's when things are going to start picking up, and we'll start getting some guys named. Maybe even in the finals, we might get a couple of finally getting some teams naming their staff.
Yeah, maybe. Mike.
Well, it's funny because Rob Rossi from the Pittsburgh Tribune Review was interviewed on Toronto radio on Friday, and he floated an interesting theory regarding Bylsma. He said that the Penguins look at Bylsma right now as an asset, meaning that other teams like Washington, or maybe other teams besides Washington, would immediately hire him as a coach, so that now they can't trade him for an asset. They can't trade him for a prospect or a draft pick, but they can.
Officially, they can't. But officially, they can't. But I read about this today too, and there was all kinds of thought on that, on where that realm stretches. And right now, there's currently a movement among NHL GMs to allow that to be able to be done.
Right.
So it's possible down the line that there could be something to that.
But Peter Chiarelli rule.
Right. But his speculation, which was interesting, and I don't know how much I believe in it, but he put it out there, was that the guy that Pittsburgh really wants as their head coach is Mike Babcock. But Mike Babcock has 1 year left in Detroit. Doesn't sound like he wants to extend that contract past next year, and that Bylsma could be of interest to Detroit if Babcock was going someplace else. So essentially, holding Bylsma as an option for Detroit if they would let them have Babcock. So in a sense, a coach for coach trade like a Vigneault for Tortorella thing. I don't know how realistic it is, but I thought it was pretty interesting, and I don't know if that's going to happen, because I still think Babcock's going to stay in Detroit for another year, but it's out there.
Well, it makes as much sense as anything. Although I have to say that for the Penguins to do that, the first part of that theory, Mike, I don't quite buy that. I don't quite buy that they would hold on to Bylsma just to keep him from going to Washington. That's really the organization that organization doesn't have any history of that kind of shenanigans. I mean, that's a big no-no. That's a real unspoken thing in the NHL. Like, you let guys go early because to give them time to find places to go, not the opposite, not to like keep them from going places. I'd have a hard time. Yeah, I know. Rangers have scored again down here. Yeah, and so if Michel Therrien's watching this podcast, and he is.
Yeah. Speaking of scoring, Miguel Grabowski just scored again for Belarus. That guy's on fire.
If that's the case, then if Therrien's watching, you might want to not play Budaj tonight. Although it's the kind of thing where Budaj could come out and just be unbelievable too. This is the NHL. This is the way this works. I know last year that wasn't the case against Ottawa, and yesterday wasn't the case either. But I'm still going to hold out hope that something happened. I will try to find Tokarski. I have not been able to find him anywhere, and I even tweeted it out on NHL 14. He is not anywhere to be found. Yeah. So people tweeting me about what Mike just said too, about the story involving Bylsma and how the Penguins. I also heard the asset story as well, but it's not like a direct thing. It's more like along the lines of like, okay, let's take Kessler for example. Maybe the Penguins want Kessler on their team. Maybe they're going to go after Kessler. So, another deal can happen, and we've seen this happen before, where Bylsma ends up getting permission, because right now the Penguins hold the rights to permission to talk to Bylsma, and that is an asset, whether you want to call it an asset or not, whether you want to say whatever you want to say, whether the rules are the rules, they hold those rights right now,
right,
and they can keep Bylsma from talking to anybody. So.
Yeah, but if you're the Penguins, do you really want to see Shiro and Bylsma like 6 times in a season?
No, but you're not going to stop it either. The NHL would have all kinds of issues with that. I mean, that would be big time collusion. I mean, you made your bet here. They fired him. You can't divorce the wife and keep the in-laws. It just doesn't work. So, not that you'd want to, but I'm just saying. That's not that I have the greatest in-laws in the world. So that's not me. Let's change the topic to the Rangers scoring again, because they did.
What's the score, Eck?
This would be Matt Zuccarelli. It's 24-1 now.
No, seriously, in this game, what is it?
In this game? Let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to tell. It's hard to tell. I know it's a little bit blurry. So that was not a good goal by Peter Budaj right there.
Is it 5-1?
This would be. It is 6-1.
Oh, jeez.
4-1. 4-1 in this game.
4-1. That 5-1 was pretty good.
It was 5-1 midway. It was 6-1 midway through the second period of the last time we played these teams with Peter Budaj in goal.
They combined 13-2 in 4
This is
periods.
insane. I mean, come on. It's not that. I mean, geez.
Well,
All the more reason. I'm going to throw this out there again. In what I believe, with hockey as hockey is, this is all the more reason that the Canadians will win tonight. The fact they are getting destroyed over here in our game is another reason why the Canadians will absolutely win tonight.
Josh has a breaking news.
More breaking news. And this is going to hurt the Rangers. Derek Brassard is not playing tonight.
Yeah. Well,
there you go. Easily as important.
Reason.
Easily as important as Carey Price.
But wait, Eck.
There's more.
But no, replacing him in the lineup tonight will be Flyers killer Daniel Carcillo.
Sorry, Dan Carcillo.
Oh, I think he's changed his mind again.
No. All the more reason. I'm going to do the imitation now of the Canadians in 2 weeks, holding the cup over their heads.
No, but it'll be a glass cup at a golf course.
Are you trying to appease all Canadians right now, Eck? Not all Canadians, because I'm not a Habs fan.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I honestly do feel this. I'm truthfully being honest with you, that I do believe that this is how things will go. And I'm not. And I thought the Rangers would win the series. So I'm just saying now, I think they won't. So that's where I'm going to start leaving it. If I was to make a pick now, I'd say the Canadians are going to.
So you think they're going to come into this game very cocky? I guess
you're not as cocky as the Electronic Rangers, who just scored again.
Well, what's the score now?
5-1 now.
Oh yeah.
I'll bet the 2 cookies that you owe me that the Rangers will win this series.
Wow.
Can I get in on some action too?
I'm putting all my cookies on the line.
I will do the podcast for free for the rest of the year. No, I'm telling you, this is where it's at right now. The Rangers are going to lose tonight. They'll definitely lose tonight. I don't know if Tokarski's in goal or not, but we'll find out soon. And if he is in goal, I will also make this promise. You can hate Canadian fans out there watching. I will simulate that game with Tokarski in goal, and he's not. I have to create him according to one of these players. So I have to create Tokarski.
Are you taking a sick day tomorrow, Eck?
Expect multiple texts tonight, Eck.
Oh my God! All right, we'll see. Yeah. So this game is coming down towards the end here, and we'll just want to see if Josh actually nailed the score right, because that would be pretty impressive. Anyway, because it is 5-1 right now.
How much time's left?
There's about 7 minutes left. Okay, so no, the Habs have scored.
Ah, darn it!
Yes, exactly. Habs have scored. So this game is now 5-2. But we'll find out more tonight, obviously. Guys, I think it's about all the time we have for today. Really, we have a lot more to talk about for sure, but we have a whole week to talk about it, and there's going to be a lot of other stuff happening for sure. I think things are just starting to boil up this week. This is going to be an interesting week because we are getting to the point where, like it or not, the draft is a month away, and to teams not playing the NHL anymore, that is really coming up fast. And there's 26 teams not playing the NHL anymore. So realize that the draft and rumors are really quickly fast upon us. So,
one thing.
Yes.
Did you guys see the New York Post after the 7-2 loss the other day? Did you see the headline?
No, I did not.
See if you could see that.
Hold on. Nope.
French toast.
French toast. New York Post is a great. They are awesome.
French toast.
They are awesome headline writers. I mean, they've been holding that back forever. They're like waiting and waiting and waiting.
No, yeah. I'm not going to share the headline. Well, I'll tell you after.
All right, so Habs fans, keep faith tonight. In Tokarski we trust, unless, of course, Therrien's not going to play him. In which case, good luck. Because according to our simulation, no, I'm just kidding. I think I'm going to throw it right now. We will talk tomorrow, and you guys will be saying, Eck, you were right. Montreal won last night. So so just you don't have to watch the game tonight. Just come on the podcast tomorrow, and I will tell you how they won. That's all. All right. Remember, without the buzz, guys, it's just hockey. Have a good day. We'll be back again tomorrow.
It's just hockey.
Sorry. See ya.